I'm live. Oh, yeah, it's not such a bad picture if I go down low. Hello. I'm going live. Cliff's going live. Cliff's going live. Cliff's going live. Oops. Ow. Ooh, 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 ah. Hello. Cliff's live. Hello. Speaking to you from the hangar. I'm speaking to me from the hangar at the moment. Just tidying the bench because you know why? I've got a lovely new project to start, and it will require a nice empty bench, as you know, because it's a big one, isn't it? It's a big one. I've got some tidying to do, but never mind. I hadn't planned on starting it yet because I've got lots of lovely information about what I can do to the. I'm talking about now, of course, the nice big Mercury 4. Yeah, here's the fuselage. I've got all the plans here. Keep knocking them over. Oh dear! Look at that! Look at the size of that! That looks massive there because it's not really that big. But still, let's put it down here, and it does fit on my bench. In fact, I saw a guy built one online, and he built a like a big jig thing to put the fuselage in. So he had 4 screws at the front and something at the back, and he could rotate it, I guess, to help make life easier when he's planking. But I think well, I might have to do that, but as it's built, I might not. So there's various things. Like Dave Query said, he gives the whole fuselage a coat of dope when it's old balsa, and because some of the that's not a bad idea, but I'll probably go over the joints with CA actually, because some of the joints are sprung here and there, which is hardly surprising, I guess. But I'm going to, I think, probably tissue the fuselage, tissue it, and then once it's tissued, well, fill it and sand it and get everything flat, tissue it, and then I'm going to spray the fuselage and put on something opaque on the wings, because again, as Dave Query said, the wings are in such a bad state with filler and that, it's just going to look dreadful if I put clear on it, which it would. So it's going to have to be sprayed. I have noticed actually another problem, and that is the tubes built into the fuselage for the undercarriage to slot in. The front one should be a lot bigger diameter, 3/16 wire, whatever that is, 6 gauge possibly, and the back one was thinner, 8 or 10, and he's put the smaller diameter tubes in the front. Hello. Oh, who's that? Nick. Good afternoon. How's the Mercury space rocket going? Well, I've just put it on the bench. Hang on, another. Oh yes, use it. Would you use film over balsa lock? I don't use balsa lock. I use got something in my eye now. Never go live when you've got something in your eye. Balsa dust. No, I'm just going to probably just give it a good old couple of coats of dope to seal it all up. And then I used to use balsa lock many years ago when you're covering. No, what was it? I used to use it. Probably got a dried up tin somewhere. Are you in your outhouse at the moment, Nick? In your shed, one of your garages, creating a masterpiece? What are you building? What are you doing at the moment? Hello, Mark. How you doing, mate? It is. I'm really excited to buy it. To build it. When I had a look at it in the swap meet, it was. The guy said, "Yeah, Cliff, this would interest you." And I said, "Well, I don't know." And I looked at it and I walked away and went to my little stall because I had a couple of models. And I was looking at it across the hallway, and a couple of people stopped and looked at it and moved on. And I went back over and I came away, I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And that was a mistake, actually, because, sorry, Nick, what did you say? Oh, you're on your P51. Yeah, excellent, good. I flew mine yesterday. I'll finish my story in a minute, Mark. The P51, by the way, was the one that got damaged out of the 5 models I took flying yesterday. It was that little one up there. I don't know if you can see it. Yes, you can, the white one. I launched it overarm. That's a mistake. I should have launched underarm like I normally do. And it just went straight in and broke their nose off. But, you know, hey, it's repaired, ready to go again. So no biggie. So, Mark, I was saying, so I came away. I didn't buy it, which was a shame because the guy on the stall next to me had 2 great big wheel pants that perfect for this model. And he said, yours for 50p, fiberglass ones. And I said, nah, if I buy these, I've got to buy this aeroplane over there, and I'm not buying it, so I won't buy it. I wish I had now. Don't even know who he was or where he came from, but pair of, are they wheel pants? What do you call them? Spats for 50p was a bargain. Should have had them anyway. So Nick says, oh yeah, you're on your P51, still on the P51. So, I mean, to get this, I mean, I literally paid. No, I didn't buy it. I saw him. He's a club member, and I saw him at one of the meetings, and he said, "Look, don't you want that lovely big plane?" And I said, "Well," he said, "I'll do a swap if you like. That old radio-controlled slope-soaring bird you've got, which, to be honest, I never had much success with because it was too heavy." He said, "I'll swap it if you like." So I said, yeah, okay. So I went round and swapped it, and that. But now I've got this, I'm thinking, I'm getting really excited about it, and the introduction video to it. It's given me loads of ideas. Saska Frass, good afternoon. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, didn't. Yeah, exactly. I should have done. New subscriber. Cheers, mate. I saw your name on the Autogyro video, I think, wasn't it? Should have bought them, but never mind. I'll have to make some, or you never know, I might see them again. So, yeah, I think I'm going to start. Well, I know where I'm going to start now. I'm going to build the tailplane, which is about 30-inch, big elliptical thing. I'm going to build the tailplane. I'm going to build the fin and place them in place, and then put the battery in place and wait for a motor and see where it balances, because the wing is pretty much on the CG, half and half. So, it's going to be about there. But I just want to see how, at the moment, it's tail heavy, obviously. But I want to, if I can get it roughly there, then I can decide, well, do you know what? Let's put the servos down in the tail end. Closed loops are great, but a little bit of extra work and a little bit delicate to set up. I've got closed loops on the Fokker, on the rudder, and they work really well, and then individual servos in the wing. Did you enjoy the Fokker video the other day? I was really glad I got it out. There she is, just to remind you guys. There she is. Look at that. What a bird. It's like flying a big old plane around, You can't do anything too quick, although I nearly bought it, didn't I? Being silly. Yesterday, I took that one up the field because it's the RC conversion now. And I've got the video, but it was a bit of an overcast grey day. I've just stuck the head back on, knocked the head off this morning. I stuck it on with a spring in the neck, so it moves around. Anyway, yeah, I flew it, and hi Shady, or Dave, I should say. Yeah. I'm not sure, actually, Mark, because those dowels are a long way down, they're 10 inches down, and the hooks are about 2 inches. So I'm thinking, how am I going to fit a rubber band down there and get it hooked up and let the wing pull tight? And be tight enough. But I do like the idea of rubber bands. I was looking online, I saw an idea where the dowels were here and the bands came down over the leading edge and down to here and sort of followed the line of the A post, which would work. Or I was thinking I could make up a sort of a, let me get a rule, I can explain it better possibly. With a ruler. Okay, so say I had a bit of ply about that thickness, I could fix it to the structure inside and then say H ply or maybe something even heavier and have a good old piece of ply inside we can't see. There we go. And have a good old bit of ply on the inside and I can then pass the dowel through there. And that would work. Or Dave Query suggested doing away with the windows completely. Let's go back. Dave Query suggested doing away with the windows completely, making it solid, and use vinyl to have the effect of the windows. And then I can beef it up as much as I like inside, which isn't a bad idea, given the fact that the windows, I have cleaned them a bit with some cleaning fluid, but they were really horrible and manky and dirty, and they still are, to be honest. I don't know if they clean up further. Yeah, probably would. This one's falling out anyway. The other thing, I wondered if you could hook the bands on if the windows weren't in on one side. You could easily get your hand in there virtually to put, because you're only talking about the center section. The center section is sort of this wide. And that's the bit that you're clamping down to the fuselage, and then the wings plug on via those great big dihedral braces. Just have a sip from my mug. Bowman Flights mug. So that is an idea, but I do like if you've got windows, it'd be a shame to cover them up, but the builder, whoever he was, I don't know why, he's put on this great big piece of plywood on the front. Tom, hello Tom. It doesn't, nice to see you. It doesn't have a cowl at the moment. It'd be balsa-wood. It'd be something like, I'll show you what something like. This is a cowl from a tiger moth, looks like a tiger moth type cowl. Obviously it's way too small, but it's sort of that sort of shape with the motor up at the top. And but anyway, it's made out of, I think they say 3/4 inch balsa. Is that 20 mil or something? Carve it all out, no big deal. But the previous builders put on this piece of 1/4 inch ply on the front, which is great. But for some reason, he's made it probably about 1/4 inch bigger than the front of the aeroplane. And then he's used this filler all around, which is like concrete. So it's kind of okay. I could, as long as it's glued on really well. I mean, the engine bearers are like 1 inch by 1/2 inch. Dirty great bearers because it's designed for a big petrol engine. Someone's had a go at the dashboard. Wasn't me, honest. Look at that. I don't know if you're seeing there. It's all that way. That it's all been hacked away crudely. I don't know why someone's gone in there and hacked away trying to get to possibly the engine bearers. I don't know. It's a bit of a mess, though. I haven't started it yet. I'm still obviously weighing up the ideas, but the tailplane is going to be great to build. I can crack on. But this fuselage, I mean, to build this with planked fuselage, I've only done the small planking like on the Gwillows models around the nose, and that took forever. This must have, I reckon, even at my speed, I would have to allow 3 months to build this, just the fuselage. Richard, hello mate, how are you doing? Could you not have a hinged access panel underneath to pull the bands down onto a fixed down mount and no part user? Good idea. Yeah, the dowels are already there. Right at the bottom. You see them there, can't you? 2 dowels. I'll use this rule to point. Yeah, there's one there. Oops. Yeah, I could have a hinge. Or, yeah, I'll tell you what would be good, actually. I don't think it would weaken the structure. Well, I don't know, though. I was thinking cut a door out, you know? Then you could actually get your hand in. That would be fantastic. The only thing is, there's an inner structure of 1/4 inch square, top and bottom longerons and the zigzags all the way down, and then formers and then the planking. So if you were to eat into those 1/4 inch squares, might weaken it, could strengthen it up. Good idea. I just love these ideas. I haven't looked at the motor yet, Richard, for the Mantis, but Dave Query had an idea on the comments. He said he had a problem. It's just here. It's just here, look, hanging up. Let me turn you, you'll see it. I'm running out of space, so I've hung it there temporarily. Come on down, my beaut. Look at that. Let's just turn you back. Oops. Oh, if you have a spare channel. I've got loads of channels. Microservos with a claw, positive lashing would be cool if the weight wouldn't mess things. The weight won't mess things up. It's got such a large wing area. Yeah, that's a really great idea. So they sort of go click around the dowel. Yeah, great idea. Probably over engineering. I like rubber bands. Got some here, look. I get these from work actually. But they're lovely big, we can't see, lovely big rubber bands. No, David Query suggested he had a wire pull off the back of the motor, and I wondered if I had let me just take this piece of foam out. Didn't it go well? It just seems so solid in the air, so easy to fly. Yeah, I mean, they're all connected up well enough. And it turns well enough. Shall I pop the, get some bits and bobs if I do, but yeah, it won't take much to change the motor anyway. So I was really pleased with the way that went. Hi, Caroline. We'll add a little DC motor spin up here. Well, you can do that. People do have auto rotators, is the term, but it's just extra engineering, really, isn't it? I don't think they really caught on. They're a nice addition, but you don't really need them, and it's part of the fun, isn't it, spinning it up? As long as you've done the nut up, the blades don't fall off. Richard, the guy standing with me on the video there, he's got a couple of autogyros, but he's always saying, you fly first. I haven't actually ever seen him fly one yet. Dave, yeah, what was that? Getting ready to build my... Oh, are you, mate? The Luobo, I've still got mine. Let me point it up, look. Can you see it? Let me turn the light off a minute. It's not a bit dark, but there's my Luobo. And it allowed me to sort of cut my teeth on it. You know, it's quite a easy autogyro to fly, but I crashed it so many times. The undercarriage has got a big lump of fiberglass to hold it on, but I've crashed it so many times and it just bounces. And well, yeah, I've kept it because I might reinstate it, but I've pinched the Luobo head and put it on the Mantis here. But another thing I was really pleased with how well it tracked, really straight. Something I haven't done yet. Look, I'll show you this. Look, I know I've seen videos of them flying without tailplanes. So the tailplane's such a good fit that I haven't actually glued it in. It just slides in like that. So I could, if I feel brave, have a go at that without the tailplane on. But it's such a good fit. It just slides in there. Look at that. Spot on. Actually, it'd be handy for traveling, but they don't take up much space. Quite pleased with the Pilot, which is magnets. So I can put the battery in easily, and then just put the Pilot on like that, and it does. Well, I know he jumped off when I hit the ground, but that was the shock, wasn't it? I was really lucky there, because if I'd have been going downwind, I don't know. It's only the fact I was into wind. Like with an aeroplane, when you get an engine cut, you push the nose down to maintain the speed. But if you do that with an autogyro, the blades stop. So you've got to pull the stick back a little bit to keep them spinning. But of course, I've got no forward momentum. So I think I was really lucky. It happened so quick, and it just came down and bounced, you know. Good question, Caroline. I think models fly better. You can get, I mean, Richard, he's on at the moment. Yeah. I have seen models with just 2 blades, but 3 blades seem to work. Why don't they have 4? But Richard, yeah, it did actually, just reading your comment there, Richard, it did sound like it was single phasing, like one wire had pulled out. Maybe one wire has pulled out on the back. I don't know. I'll have to investigate that. If I possibly find my, should we take the motor? Let's take the dummy motor off, shall we, and have a look at let me just pop that off. Look. Did you notice I always paint my propellers, or a lot of the time I just give them a fizz over with a bit of aerosol, because I just hate the grey, you know. They just look so dull, don't they, you know. What did I do with mine? There they are. They just look so dull being grey. Wooden one. I have got a couple of wooden ones. Adam, hey, Adam's in the house, guys. Model Aviator. I'm just going to take the motor carolling off, Adam, of the autogyro attempt yesterday at flying it. Well, it did fly, but the engine stopped. I must stop calling it an engine. That's because I've been brought up, you see, with IC models. The motor stopped turning. I was very lucky. I mean, I'd done a fair amount of taxiing around as well. You'd have thought if it was going to go, it would have gone. But I've got 2 little pinch screws here that just hold the motor. Let's put that in there. Just turn it around. Let's take Mr. Pilot off. And oh, Cliff, look out. I have to put the rubber band back on the rotor blades. Just pop that off and see what's happening there. See if there's anything that looks out of place. Quite pleased with my little dummy motor. So it just slides off like that, nice and easy. And oh, Ollie, how are you doing, mate? You're quite right. Props are horrible in grey. So there's the motor. Let's just secure these blades a bit. Oh, I can't now. I've taken the propeller off. Okay, just watch myself. Doesn't look. I can't. I mean, there's nothing obvious. So it must be internal. The other thing I thought was I might just try a different ESC on there just to confirm that it's a motor, but it was like single phasing, wasn't it? Which is a bit odd. So this one's a Tornado 3536. Not sure the KV because it's rubbed off 1200, 1100, something like that. But yeah, what a great model. What a great model. And Oh, hello, Craig. Thank you. And Tom, you're working on the Nobler control line, I bet. Great. If I'm right, let me know if I'm right. Hi, Gantz. How you doing, mate? Best first build, Craig. What? Also gyros, aeroplanes, gliders? Let us know. If you're into building or you want to build, you might be better off with a kit as opposed to working from plans. If we've got a club meeting tomorrow night, I should be taking this one down actually. And I'm going to lay the plans out. Anyway, that's talking plans. Yeah, so you can you buy a simple kit and look for a build video. Hello, everyone. Dan is in the house. Hello, Dan. Thanks for looking in. Sunday afternoon here in England. It's probably Sunday afternoon everywhere. It might be Monday morning somewhere or middle of the night, I suppose. I was going to come on a little while ago, but we friends came up, and I doubt we'll see Chris because he's probably looking after his new granddaughter. Is that lovely? Dad's Aussie hanger. No, if he's not that, he's out doing hanger too, which is brilliant. It's looking nice. I'm very lucky to have this garage, which is internal to the house. So it's heated and everything else, so it's taken a long time coming, mind you. So, yeah, it looks like I'm going to have to take that motor off. Testing it. I bet you if I put a battery on it now, it works. Shall I give it a go? Let me just get a battery. Bear with me a second, guys. Chat amongst yourselves. Just get a battery. I keep the batteries out of doors. I don't like them in here. There's a transmitter. Let's try that one. Oh, hang on, let me shut the door. Wifey's got something playing. Very lucky. Sunday lunch is on the cooker. Isn't that lovely? Let's just have a go.
Welcome to OpenTX. Switch.
Oh, Sunday morning, is it?
Engine on.
Ah, okay. Well, it's 4:37 here, or thereabouts. Let me just select the right model here. Mantis. Oh, that's not what I want to do. In fact, it probably is already selected. So look. Yes, okay. Okay, let's have a go at this. See what happens. Pops off anyway. Motor's off. Okay, here we go. It's working. So you tell me.
Engine off.
I can't risk flying it with so that's really annoying because there's nothing worse than an intermittent fault because you've got to chase it down. Yeah, Ollie. Good afternoon. Lawrence Smith is in the house, as they say. Hello, how are you doing? I'm just going through. I've gone through a bit of the Mercury build, which I haven't started, of course, because I've only just put the video up. Loads of great ideas, guys. But I was just looking at the Mantis because the motor stopped working yesterday. Well, I don't know. The ESC, I noticed yesterday, actually got quite warm, and it's getting quite warm now. Yeah. Dave's saying could be a dead cell in the battery, but it was, and it will be, I'm sure. Two batteries actually. I could have tried another battery. This was the battery I think I had. 40%, 45, 43, total 42, 11.8. So, I mean, that's showing okay. I'd have to look at the video again to see which battery was in, but I've only got 2 3S's. So maybe it was a cell. Would the ESC cause a problem like that, do you think? The ESC I've got, I put it on the watt meter and it was pulling 22 amps. It's a 40 amp ESC Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, Hobby Wing. So it's probably a cheap Chinese one. Anyway, it's good for 40 amps and it was pulling 22 amps. So I wouldn't have thought it was the ESC. I suppose the only thing, the only thing you can do is to try a different either motor or ESC, but if it goes wrong again in the air, it could be disastrous. Yes, Adam, thanks. I did take a note of all the readings actually, but Richard, yeah, I mean, I could try flying it without the shroud on, or I could do make some cooling thing. I mean, the motors, I've got about 3/8 maybe centimeter of air all around the motor. It's not a tight fit, but there's no air can blow in from the front, as it were. So I mean, I could cut slots in the cylinders is what I normally do, cut slots like I did on the Panther to let a bit of air in. But I could try it without. That's a good idea. What I could do actually is to charge a battery up and just run it around the garden. But having said that, I did run it around for quite a few minutes on the ground, waiting for the wind to blow, which it did eventually. But I probably will put it back on the watt meter, Adam, because that's a good idea. I can check it. Interesting. So I'll leave that off for a minute. I was thinking of using these as well on the cow. They were off of the cub that I had. They go over the cylinders like that. But they would scoop air in. So I had sort of planned maybe leaving the top off one of these, or maybe the front one, and letting that scoop air in, which is an option. Could still use them, but it looks a bit chunky. In the end, I went off that idea. One of the guys actually said, had I checked my HT leads, because it could have been one of those misfiring. Yeah, very good. I had to smile on somebody else's video. They had an autogyro. They were practicing, testing up and down, trying to get it to hop and what have you. And they said his club mates were ribbing him because it looked like when was he going to try and get that funny little car to fly? Tom, have I ever considered building a VMC kit, which is Vintage Model Company, for those that don't know? I've got one actually. It's way up there on top of my box. I won't get it down. It's Sopwith triplane. Always like the Sopwith triplane, which is why I got a Micro Aces Sopwith triplane, which does fly beautifully. I think there's a guy online has obviously I'd radio control it, although it might be fun rubber power in it, because as you know, I've now got my new rubber winder with counter. This one, pardon me, is 10-1, so I can see exactly how many winds I've done without having to go as a count. So looking forward to using that. Wasn't cheap, but nice bit of kit all the same. British company. So yeah, I suppose all I can do is yes, I don't, David. I don't announce when I'm going to live stream because I don't know when I'm going to live stream. Because I work, I could say I'll do it every Sunday afternoon, but then I work some Sunday afternoon. So it's a sort of a, I did announce actually, I announced it 15 minutes before. That's not much, is it? So, but if I talk for long enough, everyone will see it eventually. I can only talk for another 45 minutes. So in that time, how long have we been going? 35, there we go. I can keep talking. But what was that? Saska Frass said, yes, he does eject. I was very lucky because he could have bounced up and lost his head, couldn't he, in the rotor blades, because it is only foam board. Quite pleased with him. Again, exactly as Richard Harris drew on the plan. I love him. And Ollie says, yeah, I've seen the triplane converted to RC as well, and it went okay. I'd like to try and lighten it. The lighter it is, the better they fly, of course. Lawrence says, how's your weather on that side of the pond? Sidey of the pond. Well, yesterday it was no wind and totally grey. Virtually all of the southwest seemed to be grey. And today it's a light wind from the east, which is the cold direction, but it's blue sky. So you take your pick. I could have gone flying today, but I'd have been colder. But the Autogyro would have looked great flying against the blue sky. Yes. See, Ollie's only 4 miles from Old Warden, so he gets to see all these beautiful. I have seen a Sopwith triplane. Came down to Branscombe Air Show. I don't think they do it anymore. Down on the south coast, not far from me, 20, 30 miles. And there's a little airport down there, runway, grass strip. And they had a vintage car and air show, and I went down, and because I had an old car at the time as well, but all these vintage aeroplanes, and I'll tell you what came in was a pair of Mustangs, and a Sopwith triplane flew over. It didn't land. Just amazing to see. But oh God, those Mustangs, they just came down in a dive, and any enemy on the ground they were just huge. I was surprised at the size of them. Huge terror machines, you know. David says we need to get a bigger hangar. We absolutely do, because I've just sold 2 aeroplanes because I've run out of space. I've got one up at my daughter's, hanging up in her bedroom, the Torb, which she loves. But I am running out of space, and that's the beauty of building small aeroplanes. Closest, Lawrence says, what's the closest airfield near me? That'd be Exeter Airfield. It would have been, no, it still is Exeter. There was one in Plymouth. We're midway between the two, about 20 miles, something like that. But my favourite airfield down here is Dunkerswell, which is 55-minute drive. And that's where I kept my microlight. So that's a lovely Second World War, huge. They used to fly, American used to fly, I think, submarine-seeking planes out of there during the war. So, but it's huge. I think it might be 200-meter long runway, where it's a typical, 3 runways. But that's a beautiful little airfield. And they do lots of airborne stuff there, skydiving and what have you. So there's always lots going on. Yeah, Adam says, brilliant to do a live stream. I wasn't really diagnosing, actually, Adam. I just brought this one in because Richard's lurking somewhere in the background, and he is the designer. I'm going to do possibly a little short video just of the Mantis, the Atom, and my Panther, which is in the other room, all Richard Harris designs. The expert. Yeah, superb. Oh yeah, Ollie says it was a replica triplane. Oh, I didn't imagine for 1 minute it was an original, Ollie. Don't worry, but you've got to have replicas now because we're talking aeroplanes over 100 years old, aren't we? And even replicas look the part, don't they? So yeah. Actually, do you know what? I saw it somewhere. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere in Devon, a local airfield, at a show. Paniol, hello, mate. What do you think of a Cessna 140 biplane model? Well, they don't exist, do they? I think you're talking about sticking an extra wing on a Cessna. Why not? Should be easy to do. Do you know I've got a Cessna wing right behind me? Shall I show you? I picked this wing up from it was a job lot of rubbish, really, but this wing was with it, and I wondered what it was, and I think I asked online, did anyone know what it was? Because it was a load of gliders the guy had, and this one. Let me just move the mantis a sec. You got me on the head. I'll just hang that one back up there. Yeah, so this wing appeared, and I thought, you know what? That's a pretty wing. It's been damaged here and repaired and terribly. What's the matter with people? Why can't they repair things straight? I just don't get it. Anyway, this is originally a Veren Cessna. Don't know which one. Just rudder elevator just rudder elevator, and it's got the clear window bit on the front here. There's a bit of no, it's steel. It's not carbon, is it? No, it's steel. There's a bit of piano wire in there. Look at this. I've not noticed it before. A bit of piano wire in there. And the celluloid top of the screen has been stitched. Anyway, I've got this Cessna wing, and I thought it might be fun one day to build the fuselage to go with it, because I've never had a sort of a balsa wood Cessna, but anyway, there it is. I've got a Cessna wing. So yeah, why not make a biplane? Why not? It could go. Oh, I didn't know that, Ollie. That's technically Shuttleworth's is a replica Sopwith triplane, but it carries the serial number 182. They built 181 in the war. So yeah, fair enough. That's worth doing, isn't it? Not trying to pretend it's something it's not then. Yeah, Sassafras. Interesting handle there, mate. Yeah, doing a diagnosis. I suppose I hadn't planned on that. And we haven't really come to any conclusion on that motor. I mean, what you saw on the video, it was just like, do you know what? I think it's the motor. It was one I had in my drawer, which I picked up from somewhere. I think I might have changed the, what do you call it? What do you call the bit that goes through the motor? The propeller sticks on, prop shaft. I think I might have changed it at some time or turned it around or something. And yeah, it'll be nothing to change. That's what I think it is. That's what I'm going to go with anyway. Tommy Sopwith went to see the replica being built and proclaimed it was such a good replica. He would say, is there late? Oh, wow. I might have seen. Was there a video online, I think, Ollie, about that? Because he'd have been in his 90s, I guess. Does it tell me on the screen here? Oh, I don't think it does. I just wondered if it was more than one person watching. Have you done retractable gears before, Paniol? I haven't built a model and fitted retracts. I've got models with retracts, just the Spitfire, I think, foamy, you know. And the thing with retracts is, don't they look awful if they just go whoop, whoop? You've got to slow the servos down. Or even, I think, don't they go up one wheel before the other sometimes? I've never built one. There's loads of retracts now. The early retracts were worked off of pneumatic air, weren't they? You had to pump up the cylinder before you took off, and that would power them up and down. Retracts, well, they work well when they work, don't they? But if you bend things, then not so good. But there you go. That's the beauty of First World War airplanes, because none of them had retracts. Do you know what? I think all of my models have got fixed undercarriages and all their gliders. So yeah, no, none of them have retracts apart from the Spitfire, which I love to fly. And I don't fly very often, so I really don't want to break it. My other Spitfire is my Gwillow Spitfire, which is right above my head. Shall I get it down as we're talking Spitfires? Come on, there we go. Which started off as rubber powered. It's not that heavy. Started off as rubber powered, and then I tried it around the pole rubber powered. Then I fitted rudder elevator and motor, and it wouldn't turn. So then I retrofitted ailerons, and it turns a treat. So yeah, it's really lovely model actually. But fixed undercarriage. One of the guys on the Gwillows forum is building one at the moment, and I think he snipped the undercarriage off or not fitted the undercarriage, which is a fair enough. But I didn't want to damage my guns, which, because the wing is banded on, it should be glued, but I've banded it on, and that's paid dividends really, because it doesn't break. But the guns, quite pleased with those. They've never broken all the landings. Look at that. Let's see that. That's why they've never broken off, because they're actually, what did I make them out of? Balsa or a bit of dowel, something like that. But they're actually stuck on. I don't know if you'll see. There's a piece of black foam between the leading edge and the gun. So they just CA'd onto that. So I've got a nice flexible gun. But fitting those ailerons after the event was a bit of a devil. I should have thought about it first, really. But yeah, nice model that. The Gwillow kits are great, but they do take a little bit of building, which I love to do anyway, so it doesn't matter. So Ollie's just saying there that Thomas Sopwith was just shy of 100 when he went to have a look at the replica. That's amazing. Saskafast, part of talking with other guys is to sharing ideas. That's why the forums still rock. You're right. My manners are nice. I've got a family channel. I can't swear. Not that I swear much anyway. I might say, oh, bother, if I hit my thumb with a hammer, edit that bit out. So the forums are great. Do you know what? I belong to quite a few Facebook groups, individual groups like the Gwillows forum and like Richard's Autogyro page, and loads of specialist balsa builders and gliding forum, because the moderators never allow any rubbish. You just get kicked off if you're going to start causing arguments, which is great. So they're nice places to learn from, and I like using those quite a lot. And RC forum, really helpful, and the forum for the TX16S forum, programming these things, which I'm getting the hang of, which is great. What Spitfire? Oh, the Spitfire on the wall, you mean? Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that one. Yeah, it's not it's not quite, it's a little bit higgledy-piggledy, but it's just the way my daughter painted it. So yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Looks nice. It's my hanger. What else we got going here? Yes, thanks, Paniel. She did make a nice job of it, and it's the whole wall. In fact, Chris, Dad's RC hanger, he's going to have on his hanger too, he's going to have just the window probably of that, which is about a meter square, something like that. And then he can move it about where he wants on his hanger, which is a great idea. Look, there's a tape here. Let's measure it. We want some curtains. Yeah, there you are. That's 40 inches, which is just over the meter by 33 inches, which is 83, 84 centimeters. It was a bit of luck, wasn't it? Saskafas is saying he hauled a reproductive Fokker triplane to Texas once in a trailer. Wasn't yours, was it? I mean, there's loads of reproductions online, but they look fantastic, don't they? Again, obviously, I've got one. I love them. Always have done. You can find a way to get you to Old Warden for model weekend. Yeah. It's the place to go, Ollie. But you know what? Knowing my luck, I'll get up to Old Warden. It'll be the wettest, windiest weekend they've ever had in their entire life. I'm just going to have a look online, see how far it is. Maps. Let's have a look. What we tend to do, we being me and the better half, is to make a weekend of it or something. Old Warden, Airfield, Biggleswade, directions. Oh, not too bad. 4 hours. Actually, it's near. Up the M5, around the M25, off at junction, whatever it is, and then up through St Albans. Oh, what a shame, Hatfield, because my brother in Welwyn Garden, go right through Welwyn Garden City, which is where my brother lived for the last 30 years. Could have gone up and stayed with him. We did go up to Leicester from his house once. I don't know how far up on the map. Anyway, it's 4 hours. But what we tend to do, as I say, go up and do make a weekend of it. If I had a camper van, I'd do it all the time. We're going down to Cornwall on the 18th of this month for an indoor flying event, which is going to be great, at a place called St Columb. It's a BMFA organised event, or paid for by them anyway. And I'm taking down a few indoor models, including, if I can get it to fly nicely, this one here. Hey, which I flew yesterday after I've converted it to RC. And, well, spoilers, it flew rather well, but I couldn't get it to turn right very well. So I nearly lost it a couple of times. But what I've done this morning, I've extended the ailerons by that much and moved the control horn from there down to there, which gives me a better geometry, and I'll get quite a bit more throw on there. But I tried to fly it this morning, and unfortunately, I forgot to put the transparent wing lit tip things on. And as soon as I tried to turn it, it just sort of spin in. I thought, that's rather odd. And then I remembered I'd forgotten these things. So maybe they make a big difference. So I'm hoping they do. So if I can get that flying nicely, that will fly indoors. And I'm going to take my Ajax, because it's a big place. They fly, it's the indoor bird of prey sanctuary place. And they fly the birds indoors there, practice. So it's quite big. So I'm looking forward to that. So there'll be a nice bit of video from that. And I was thinking I might try and chat to some of the guys if they're up for it, just to, make a more interesting video. Talking to other people about their models, as long as they open up and don't clam up, because I'll have my hat camera on, because unlike sort of someone like Dom, Essential RC, who's got a huge camera on his shoulder, and you go, ooh, even a little camera can be intimidating. But if I can get somebody just to loosen up a bit and talk about their model, because let's face it, we all like to talk about our models, it could be really interesting. I'm looking forward to it. And it happens to be my birthday that weekend. It's my birthday treat. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Let's turn that a little bit. Let's see, I'm missing some conversation here. Put my glasses back on. So when is Ollie Old Warden this year? Do they have more than one? I know they have one really good one. Oh, that's true. Yeah, there is a museum there. Yeah, that's very true, mate. Yeah. Saskafas talking about, he said, knew the guy who owned it, former officer. Yeah, shame they're not two-seaters. It'd be great to go up in one. John of Mike Races, yeah, well, makes the trek for the weekend. So that's because he's selling models all these. He's got to, but 21st, thank you. It's not my 21st, no. David, yeah, you've mentioned about this before, haven't you, on one of the comments, the flight stands for the models. If they were right up next to the field, you can bet your bottom dollar someone's going to fly into them. When the wind is blowing in the direction as it was yesterday from the pit area towards you, you have to take off towards the pits, which, you know, is a big no-no. So you take off and immediately bank around. Landing's okay, of course. It's not far. It's not a big walk. It's about 30 second walk, I suppose, from the pit area and the stands up to the flying field. Besides which, they're all kept down next to the hut, and you'd have to drag them up to the field to use them. And there's sheep in the field, so you'd have to keep them on the strip inside the electric fence, and then they'd be on the strip. So, you know, it's just easy. That's where they're kept. So it's no big deal. I know, like, you see a lot of people in the States, primarily, where you have a little area where each pilot will stand, which is, I think, a great idea. But then you can't talk to the guy next to you so much, but we can stand in a little huddle and all have a laugh. I'll tell you what else I flew yesterday. I flew my Polaris, which is hiding on the wall behind the Spitfire there, and that was great fun. I haven't flown it for a bit. That's the triangular thing with the engine up on the top. And one of the guys I was flying with, the guy that's in the video of the Mantis yesterday, Richard, pardon me, he had one, a pond skipper or something. It's the same aeroplane, but the mass-produced one. So we flew together. We put them on the grass together and took off and had a bit of a lark, trying to sort of just fly in formation and what have you. And so that's a little bit of short video I'll put up if it's of interest to anybody. So I've got the video still to edit of the flying Tyrannosaur. Can never remember what it's called. Not the Patanosaur, as I said before. But anyway, the Tyrannosaur, as my brother pointed out in the comments, it's a silent P, but it's too late. I told him to is off, which only brothers can talk about, see? So I flew the Dinosaur. God, I can never remember the name. I flew that, and I flew the P-51, which I broke, but it is repaired. I flew the Polaris, and I flew obviously the Mantis, and there was one other. What else did I take? Oh well, whatever it was in that photograph, wasn't it? So that was a good day. Ollie says the first one's 13th and 14th of May, the last one's 16th and 17th of September. Chris. Okay, so my poor hurt brother is actually viewing as well. Hi. So anyway, he's hurt. Let me get my diary, Ollie, a sec, because I can look ahead to see what days I'm working, I think. Talk amongst yourselves. Let's have a look, because I really would like to get up to Old Warden. Major trek though. What did you say? The 13th and 14th of May. I'm working the 13th. I'll put it in the diary though. Old Warden. And I don't know what hours I'm working on the 13th. So if I'm working late, it's just too late to start driving. And the other date was the 16th and 17th of September. 16th and 17th. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Come on, 16th, 17th. Now that weekend is clear, and the previous day, in fact, and the 3 days afterwards. So that's excellent, because that gives me time to. Oh, Warden. Right, do you know what, Ollie? that very well could be the weekend. And September's pretty settled, isn't it, really, weather-wise? So that could be really good. So I've penciled it in. You saw that. So that's, yeah, that would be worth going to. Chris is hurt. David says he has hit a flight stand or two. There you go. I rest my case. And because you're more likely to hit somebody as well if you have some idiot flying an autogyro that's flapping away out of control. You don't want to be anywhere near the flight line. Adam, what do you do for a living? As little as possible, actually, Adam. I work up at a local hospital on patient transport. So basically, we're driving a sort of semi-ambulance from hospital to hospital and patients home, etc. So looking after their needs while they're on board. So yeah, really interesting job, especially the old people. You can have conversations with them that you can't have with anybody else, because they've got such a wealth of knowledge. I usually ask them, what do they do? Where were they during the war? And then now that's where you get the interesting stories. I had another question I love to ask them is, what's your favorite decade? And I had one lady, elderly lady, said to me, oh, definitely the 60s, dear, definitely the 60s. I said, oh, why was that? She said, the drugs. I tried everything going. You see a little old lady now and you think, oh, back in her day. Another thing I like to ask, another old lady said only this week, she said, I said, what was your favorite decade you lived in? She said, I can't tell you that. I said, why not? She said, because I'm still alive. I might be having the best decade of my, she was in her 90s, great stuff. Or I'll ask, what was the best invention you've ever seen? I asked that to a farmer once, and he said, without a doubt, hydraulics, which, yeah, fair enough. It transformed farming, didn't it? Ollie, he says to Adam, as a secret agent and model maker, well, I like to keep that side of things quiet, Ollie, so nobody would suspect I was a secret agent. Well, you have to engage with them, actually, Adam, because it's sad, really. Sometimes they say, I haven't been out the house for 3 months. You're the first person I've seen, and stuff like that, Or, of course, go into hospital, they might go for an operation or taking them home after an operation or transfer them. They're in a delicate state. So, yeah, it's great to talk to them and have a laugh. Old people, cool. What a laugh you can have with them sometimes. Yeah. Most of the time, most of the time they're really chatty and they'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Of course, I always try to bend the conversation around to aeroplanes. Everyone's got an aeroplane story. Have you flown much in your life? Oh, what sort of plane was that? And before you know it, you're talking about, some really interesting stories. I've never heard anyone say to me, autogyros, couldn't get enough of them. Nice bit of orange juice in the Baron Flights mug. If you're still on, Nick, building your P-51. How long have I been wasting your time? 1 hour and 3 minutes. So I think before I could see how many people are online. So we've had at least 4 people. So anyway, so there we are. That's the state of play at the moment. I've got this beautiful aeroplane to start building. And I'm going to start with the tailplane and fin and rudder. Look at the size of that. That is one big fin. Now the fuselage ends here. They've got a trim tab rudder on the back here. I don't know if you can see that or not, which is obviously minuscule. I'll probably just make a rudder straight up. And same with the tailplane. Oh well, yes, the tailplane actually is. Oh, I've got a small printout here actually of it. Yeah, the tailplane is. You probably won't see this because it's quite faint, but the back of the tailplane has nice big bulgy bits I can cut elevators into. I'll probably have to join them. Well, here's another thing. I was going to say I'll probably have to join them with a torque rod, but then, as with the triplane, I've got a servo on each elevator. And that's great because if I want to get a guy, I think Guy Shackles suggested having the elevators individually. So when I turn on the rudder, I can have one going up, one going down, and that will help it to turn. I don't think I will have a problem actually, because I was talking about, wasn't I, ailerons as well, but I don't think I need them. But that's an idea. Now there's a big Fokker triplane video. It might be half scale, might even be bigger than that, as an air show. And looking at that fly-in as he's taxiing, you can see the elevators are just that, working individually as he worked the ailerons, testing them. So that's an option, and I can have that on a switch, so I can fly normally, put the switch, and just see what happens when I use the rudder, see how it affects the turn. Could be worth doing. So that's the guy I got the model from. He's got a huge print. He can print A0 sheets, so he's printed me out, well, 4 great big sheets, the fuselage and everything. So I can, there's the section for the fin. I mean, everything is just huge. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, he says. I will actually, of course I will, but I'd like to think it's going to be built in, what, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks if I take the time. I mean, it's built really, isn't it? It's just the wings I could play about with. The wings are here. This one hasn't been sheeted yet, so, you know, I've got plenty of chance to get it. There is a warp in it, not much, but I'll pin it down when I sheet it. Might even steam it up a little bit first. But whoever built it, you know, it's a little bit bodgy. He's got this big piece of triangular section in here, look, just to join the sheets. It's fine, it'll do the job, but it does mean I can't cover it in transparent film. But yeah, old Bolswood goes this horrible, I don't know if it looks on the screen, this horrible dark brown, dusty, horrible thing, but it does sand up, I think. Let's get a bit of sandpaper on it, see what happens. Let's get something suitable. Just a little bit of, nothing too abrasive, but something that will do the job. Here's a little bit. Let's just try it, shall we? See what colour comes up. See if we can get all that dust off. See what happens. Oh, not over my drink. I think it's fair to say it's impregnated. It doesn't. It's slightly lighter, but nothing like the colour of Bolswood. So, yeah, I think it's going to be what it is, and that is just opaque covering. Dihedral is pretty big though. Anyway, that aside, there it is. I'm going to build the tailplane first. Somebody saying something? Hi Cliff Gudgeon, good afternoon mate. I expect you've been working away. I've just been talking to the guys here. I don't know if I've missed anything. Oh, it's the wrong sort of computer. This is not a touch screen, really annoying. Questions from Saskafras. I just received a BF-109. Very nice. It has a vacuum formed cowl. They accidentally shipped 2. Okay, good news. They fit so well it looks like one. I got the idea last night to use both, paint the inside of one, the outside of the other, and have a sturdier cowl. Oh, I see. Right, with permanent finish, can't scratch plastic. So you've got 2 basically like this, and you just use both together. And why do you want to paint the inside of one? And the outside of the other. Sturdier cowl isn't a bad idea. I would consider that. Not a bad idea. But yeah, I mean, if you can see inside the cowl, then yeah, paint it. Yeah, good idea. I think it's a great idea actually. With a permanent finish, can't scratch the plastic. What does it mean? Yeah. whereabouts are you, Saskafras? Is that a kit are you in the UK? Is that a kit that's we would have heard of? Just curious, You're right, Gudgeon. Bolswood does go very dark with age. And you probably know this, I expect everyone knows this, that balsawood is in fact a hardwood, but they harvest it when it's very, very young and tender. But if they leave it, it grows to like mahogany. Not a lot of people know that, apparently. I wonder why it does. You'd think it was actually just the surface, though, wouldn't you? You wouldn't think that it sort of goes down into it. 5:20. I should be being called for tea soon, I expect. Okay, I think that's probably it. So again, I shall say you're probably up to speed now, guys. I do enjoy these little chats. It was nice to see some of you here, and I'm going to go and have my tea, and then roast chicken tonight, and then I might just, I'll tell you what I've got to do. I have got to do a little bit more editing, haven't I? Because I want to show you the Pteranodon flying, because it did go really well, but it was a little bit reluctant to turn right for some reason. But the left turns, no problem at all. I think all the guys were quite impressed, actually. But against, we had, say, this horrible grey overcast sky, and to see this sort of prehistoric bird flying against such a sky, it looked really good. And I broke the head off this morning, so I've mounted I found a spring. I've glued a spring in there, so it's a wobbly head now. So it should just, I should hit it. That's a good move for like an indoor thing. If I hit the wall, which I'm almost certainly will, if I can't get it to turn a little bit better. But so I've got that video to edit. I've got the Polaris video to edit. What was the other plane I took? Oh, do you know, it's so annoying, isn't it? Oh, P-51 Polaris. Oh, it's all P's, wasn't it? That's right. P-51 Polaris. David, what you said? Crack on, Cliff. Yes, I must crack on, actually. Ray, good evening. Hello.
Didn't it be 5 minutes?
5-minute warning, guys. There we are. A little way from Sal. Thank you. Hang on, let's just go back. Ray says, is one of the cows a dummy to get all the cutouts correct? Well, because you're talking to Saskafras, sorry. Ray, I'm guessing that, well, she's got 2 in there by mistake. I wonder if they've packed 2 and they were just tightly packed in the box, and they just took it off the shelf thinking it was 1 and it was 2. Craig, I'm awesome. Thanks, mate. We're all awesome in our own way, aren't we? David, crack on. I will crack on, Dave, but I've got to stop now for my tea. But I'm going to look at the plan. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do this editing first. So I'm going to edit a couple more videos and get them up. Okay. So Saskafras is in Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan. There we go. Saskatchewan. Yes, there we are. Canada. Yes. Brr, sounds cold. So it's from eBay Electric. Might be Chinese production over on the classic planes. Could be, mate. Yeah. We got a local guy, actually. He lives just a couple of miles from me, produces kits. Phoenix Model Supplies. He's a one-man band, but he designs and produces kits. And his latest kit, actually, is a Messerschmitt BF 109. Which he's quite pleased with, but he does a lot of slope sorting and gliders, but he's got a few power models. Check him out. Phoenix Model Supplies, Newton Abbott. Lawrence, glad to finally make it. Have fun, happy flying. Well, I'm going to have fun, happy editing. Actually, Lawrence, I do enjoy the editing. So, but all my videos are the same style, really. But we all have our own style. See, Saskafras. So Saskafras from Saskatchewan. I can't say it again now. He's just saying to Ray, he didn't even see it. It was there was two, his first or second inspection. So yeah, that's what it was then. So in the kit box, they were just pressed together. I don't know how I would glue them, mind you. What sort of glue? You rough them up and use just a bit of epoxy here and there, really. It doesn't have to be completely glued, does it? I'll tell you what might do, and I've heard of people doing something similar, is just to spray a load of hairspray inside and put them together. And that could work quite well. It's not something I use much of, actually. Anyway, I've got to go. I've been given that 5-minute warning. So just like to say thanks to everybody who's chipped in 1 hour and a quarter. And take care, and I'll see you in the next live stream. I've made this one just subscribers only, but for all my subscribers. So thanks very much, guys, for subscribing and commenting. And oh, Dan, were you lurking in the background, Dan? Oh, and Kevin as well. Our favourite FPV flyer. All right, everyone's saying cheerio. That's great. And so watch out for the next video, and I'm going to look forward to getting up to Old Warden. I think that's a great idea from Ollie there. So I'm committed. I'm going to do it. I've got no excuse. And oh, okay. Thank you, Dan. Great stream. I try. It's only chatting, isn't it, with the guys? So, okay, guys, I'm going to look for can you see I'm looking at the corner of my eye? I'm going to press the end stream button now, and everyone's waving. Bye. Yeah, Dan's saying bye, everyone. Thanks for looking in, guys. See you again. Bye. I'm going to end the stream. God, press it twice now. See.